All right, welcome to another episode of Not Investment Advice. We've got an NIA boys here today. Jack Butcher, founder of Visualize Value. Trung Phan, Meme Master Flex himself, writer for Bloomberg Opinion. And I'm Bilal Zaidi, founder and host of the other podcast I do, Creator Lab. Boys, let's get straight into this. I think we got a meme in a week. Let's hit it.
Yeah, this one is coming out on Wednesday, so I think people will still be feeling this. So for the listeners, it's a Sex and the City themed meme. It's
themed meme.
No, the photo is of a Carrie Bradshaw, so Sarah Jessica Parker from Sex and the City. Basically, she's looking a little bit tired, and the meme reads, "Are you feeling rested after the long weekend?" And then it's just a photo of her looking not the best, and it's not about her. Sarah Jessica Parker is amazing, great actress, a great show.
Trying not to get cancelled.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get cancelled, but first of all, this one's blown up, so you can cancel whoever tweeted it. So if you're listening, you can look it up on the video. But the reason this resonated is because, man, can you guys believe it's September 6th already? This is absolutely insane.
It's pretty
Summer's
mental.
over, dude. What is happening?
This is pretty wild. How was the long week? Do you have a long weekend in Canada too, Trung?
Yeah, we had Labor Day.
How was
Same
it?
as everyone. I didn't do anything, but I mean, because I'm on kids' school schedule. I mean, Jack's about to roll up into that. It's like my entire... So we're going to do a mini parenting corner here on NIA. Getting
parenting
into...
segment.
Well, I was telling Bilal because we recorded an episode of Creator Lab earlier, but I'm basically in my head mentally waiting for September 2023 because that's when my kid is in school for 8 hours a day. Because right now he's in school for 3 hours a day, which if you include drop off and pickup time is like really 15 minutes. That's how much time you have to yourself. You know, when you know how like the context switching, like I drop my kid off, I get off home. You know, I'm on Twitter for like 45 minutes before I can do anything. Right? Yeah. So, but once he's in school for 8 hours, that's when you can really lock in some deep work. So I think Labor Day is going to take on timeline. Yeah, exactly. I think Labor Day is going to take on a much more significant meaning starting next year.
Wow.
Jack, what about you, mate? Long weekend, rested up?
A lot of socializing,
feeding like Carrie Bradshaw?
An atypical amount of socializing.
Oh, you hit the streets?
I just had people in town and some neighbors and stuff, so it was just a lot for the... my dog has been eating rabbit shit. Had to go to the vet this morning.
Wait.
Nah. The dog.
Because usually dogs can eat shit, right? Like I know dogs eat shit, like recreational.
That's
like,
why they're haram,
shit.
mate.
Yeah.
Mate.
But wait, so how did you know it was a problem?
It's like leaking liquid excrement all over the house.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
that will do it. That will do it.
That'll do it. That will alert you that something's not quite right. So,
yeah, because I don't know if we're allowed to say, but yeah, Jack was having a bit of a day today, so we had to...
That's why we did the Carrie Bradshaw thing. Please don't cancel me. Cancel whoever did the tweet.
Yeah. Well, we're back at it, boys. Summer's over. Get dialed in. We're back to work.
Bulking season. We're back to bulking season, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's bulking season now. You're right, yeah.
Guess so. No Speedos. All right, boys, we got a couple. We're going to try to focus on only a couple things this week. Let's get going with Mr. Beast Burger launch. I think that's worth doing. I don't know if you've got a video, but I can share the one I shared in the group chat just to give people a sense.
So he launched Mr. Beast, the YouTube Uber creator, launched a physical burger location. Is it New Jersey?
Yeah, in the Mall of America.
That was a client
it's like the biggest mall in America or something.
It's stupid. That thing's got like ski slopes in it, and
it's
like
massive,
hundreds of thousands of square feet. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Can you guys see my screen?
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, can you see the
man.
I mean, I don't know how to zoom in on here because I'm a boomer, but yeah, can you see the amount of people there? It's insane. Like the whole place
10,000 people
is closed down. I mean, so yeah, we've talked about on the show like ghost kitchens before a little bit. I think that's come up before. Last week even we talked about Welcome to Wrexham, that show with Reynolds. I saw the first episode last night, but essentially taking famous money and fame or attention and like creating products out of it, and that can either create a completely brand new product or something that can boost something that already exists. So like Jack, I know you were kind of like digging into this a little bit, but what's the vibe with Mr. Beast Burger?
So we got some homework before this episode. Read the franchise newsletter. What was it? Wolf of Franchises.
Yeah, it's a fellow Work Week creator, Wolf of Franchise. You should subscribe to that newsletter.
I mean, we have actually chatted franchises on here a couple of times. If we remember, Domino's DAO.
Franchise DAO. Domino's DAO. Sorry, yeah.
Roll it back to, I don't know when that was. Probably about a year ago now. But yeah,
good
before
times,
we talk
man.
about
that was good.
It was good times. Yeah, before
Feels
we
like
talk
a
about
different world.
It does. It was a different world. Like before we do the franchise bit, I know. I think there's something fascinating about just the like macro trend where maybe 10, 20 years ago, you were a brand that had a product and you would go and seek out somebody to boost the signal of it, right? Like if
a celebrity.
I'm trying to think, yeah, like Avis
David
or, you know,
Beckham.
like, yeah, Michael Jordan. And like, that's actually probably an interesting parallel, like building a product around a celebrity. But this is a little different in that it's like commodity kind of, right? The food thing, and then making a good burger and then putting a name on it. I don't watch that much Mr. Beast stuff, so I don't know if that's like burgers is like a huge part of the story, or it's like people know what food he likes and he does it like aligns with that. But yeah, it's like this direct to consumer attention is changing the way stuff gets made and conceptualized and sold. And the newsletter that we read is like you have a legitimate shot at going up against the giants because your reach is just so ridiculous on every side of the equation. Like you can recruit the customers, you can recruit the franchisees, you can get 10,000 people to show up in the middle of New Jersey. Like his reach is just so profound. And so
let me put some numbers behind the reach actually from the Wolf Report. So his main YouTube channel has 103 million subscribers. All of his US channels have 183 million. And then he has 47 international channels. And let me just add this before Jack gets back into it. Mr. Beast launching these international channels is one of the smartest moves I've ever seen. So he took his already like YouTube, he's cracked the YouTube algorithm, right? He makes the best YouTube content that everyone gets 50 million views. His strategy for YouTube is actually very brilliant. It's called the Jenga strategy. So in a game of Jenga, you know what the end result's going to be, right? The tower is going to fall. So for Mr. Beast, when he's doing a Jenga strategy, it's like everybody has their hand on the Ferrari. Whoever has their hand last gets a Ferrari, right? So you know what the end result's going to be. You're watching to get there. So his content is just perfect for YouTube because you'll watch for 15 minutes to see the end result and you know what's coming. But what he did with his international channels, which is so brilliant, is he just took all this YouTube optimized content, paid somebody to dub them in these local languages.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So apparently he
was talking about this on Rogan as well.
Yeah, genius, right? So apparently I'll just give one more anecdote about these international channels, but apparently he got the #1 voice actor in Japan to do his Japan channel.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so you're paying like, who knows how much he's paying? He's obviously, it doesn't matter, right? He's making so much money. But yeah, so apparently he spends $1 million an episode at a YouTube video. But just wanted to give a size of the scale. And so Jack can now talk about, now you have all this attention and then what he's doing with it.
You said I was just looking that up. You said he makes $1 million a video.
No,
he spends $1 million in episode.
He invests $1 million per YouTube video.
Oh, okay. All
At
right.
least.
So this is
on average. Some of them are way higher because they recreated like Charlie's Chocolate Factory or whatever and stuff like that. But
yeah.
So I'm just
on
looking.
average,
I don't know if these numbers are how accurate they are, but it sounds like he's kind of like reinvesting everything back into the videos, right? Is that
that's the whole strategy?
Somewhere?
Yeah.
The whole part goes back in. So he's like, it says he's making about $3 million a month from YouTube. That's just obviously just the ad revenue. So I don't know. I'd be fascinated to understand like what scale you would need to be as a like a brick and mortar retail restaurant business to get anywhere near that. Obviously there's a lot more complexity there, and that was the argument for franchising. Like if you're Mr. Beast, the thing you do best is make videos. So get an experienced CEO in who knows how to build franchises, and then you stay in your like attention generation zone of genius, and then man, like there's, use a cliched term, it's like there's like areas for Mr. Beast's community to gather in the real world as a function of those things existing too, right? Like you imagine, it's not just the influence that allows you to create that thing. It's by creating those things, you actually deepen like the ability to like put on different types of events and grow relationships with the audience in a different way. It's like, even if that operated at cost, it would be another thing that makes the Mr. Beast brand like indestructible, anti-fragile, blah, 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 blah. It's not necessarily about making money in the short term. It's about like growing the Mr.
Rolling
Beast
that
meme.
snowball down the
what
hill,
else can
right?
he do, right? Like the article covers the stuff, like this single location he put up in the mall in New Jersey is like only the fourth thing under the Mr. Beast umbrella, right? Like, Jack, did you have some of the other things that he's already done? And like he did the ghost kitchens obviously before the single burger location, and I don't like, how much was the ghost kitchen making?
I don't know. He's got a philanthropy.
Okay, so it says here in 2020 he launched the ghost kitchens, which so 1,000 ghost kitchens around America were using his app to sell burgers, Mr. Beast burgers, 100 mil. So we got to break down the margins on that, Jack. But you're talking about what would it take? Let's just say he's doing 50 mil a year in ads on YouTube. If you take out the margins, they're probably pretty equivalent sized businesses already. And you mentioned, he's taking that to do philanthropy. He's fed over 100,000 people. And he also released a candy bar business, which sold 1 million candy bars within 3 hours of launch for a 10 million in revenue. I mean, the reality is this: he can sell anything.
Yeah, I guess the like revenue per subscriber is like.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Right, like on just the YouTube side, just like you're capturing nothing based on like the amount of connection, value, whatever synonym you want to use there. Like somebody's watched 200 Mr. Beast videos, they're effectively paying him 30 cents a year.
Yeah.
It's like
in ad rep, just with their attention, not even them spending it. Yeah.
Before they've spent any money, where it's like, it's an incredible amount of goodwill, like above that can be captured in various, like, I'm sure he sold merch and clothing and stuff that people want to represent the Mr. Beast brand in the real world. And I think, man, I haven't really thought about it that way, but that's maybe a fascinating way to think about it, is like there's so much more room on top of that, like exchange that's happened where you're like basically building relationships with people for free. Man, I don't know. I guess the strategy has been to like reinvest over time with the channel as it grows. So obviously the quality of the videos increase over time. It is a really, I guess, a rare strategy. It's not like you're doing these.
I just don't know how replicable this is, right? It's like there's this idea of like, oh, this is like the future for a lot of creators. I mean, this guy is just so, it's just incomprehensible how big.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying if Martin's like, if you had the same financial strategy as Martin Scorsese, it's like, it doesn't work that way, right? It's like this guy has a lot going on outside of that is making the great videos happen.
And it's the 0.001% of YouTube. It doesn't mean that. I mean, I guess the cool thing here is he was like a nobody. He's like a kid who just kind of built his own thing over time, all on YouTube himself, which is sick. But it's not like, like we always joke about this phrase like creator economy, like, oh, this some random kid who's writing a newsletter is going to do Mr. Beast Burger, right? Like, this is just the...
Yo, you taking shots at me, Bilal. Yo, Trung, you...
Fan burger.
Wait, actually, so, Jack, we were recording. We were just talking about the stat we flipped around, the OnlyFans versus Substack.
Incredible.
Substack, last year, 100 million in gross revenue. OnlyFans, 5 billion in gross revenue. Newsletter writers.
You gotta get that domain fired up, fan.
No, but I just want to give it. So, Mr. Beast's real name is Jimmy Donaldson. I think he's 25 years old. He's so young, right? He cracked YouTube. So, for the listeners or viewers, if you haven't listened to Mr. Beast or Jimmy Donaldson on Joe Rogan,
Yeah,
It is
sick.
an incredible 3 hours.
Yeah.
This guy is obsessed with YouTube, and like now we're explaining how he's trying to turn it into these consumer products and doing a great job. Obviously, the other person that's worth shouting out is Reed Duscher. Is his talent manager and also the partner for Night Media. They invest, and basically he's Mr. Beast's right hand dude and does all this kind of crazy. Like Mr. Beast Burger and all these other initiatives they're doing. But dude,
it's crazy what he's doing.
Unstoppable. He's unstoppable. There's nothing. We talk about this all the time, right? It's like it's a version. Last week, Jack said that Ryan Reynolds doing Wrexham AFC was like the peak version of this kind of wielding influence, right? He also sold Aviation Gin for $600 million. George Clooney sold what was George Clooney's alcohol brand? You guys remember that? Sold it for $1 billion. Casamigos. The Rock probably has $1 billion tequila brand. I mean, Mr. Beast is on this
Conor
level.
McGregor has got his terrible whiskey.
Yeah, has the whiskey.
What's it called? Proper 12? Is that him or is that
Proper
someone
12. But yeah, Mr. Beast is this is what it is. He's in that lane with these guys doing. He's going to own probably a sports franchise. Frankly, pretty soon.
So
you know what else is?
Go on, Jack.
I was just going to say what else is crazy about like George Clooney and who else do we say?
The Rock,
Ryan Reynolds. Even Ryan Reynolds, like the adoption curve of Ryan Reynolds is probably close to the top.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast fans are kids.
Yeah.
So
Oh
there's
my
like
goodness.
so much
That's a good point.
headroom and upside going there. Like when you say George Clooney sold a alcohol brand for $1 billion, it's this like
Who under the age of 20 has seen a George Clooney movie? Like legitimately, right?
Right. It's incredible. Like props, incredible way to like cash out on the reputation that you've built and the work you've done. But also feels like the absolute perfect time to do it. Once you basically saturated everybody that's ever going to give a shit about what you do. It like the timing
That's
is
such
perfect
a great point, dude.
versus this being like in this like hyper growth phase still.
You know what? I love this point so much because we're talking about the translations that Mr. Beast is doing with these different markets. So George Clooney, I mean, he is an international superstar, but let's be honest, like Western media is still where he dominates. Mr. Beast, because he's the type of content he's making, this Jenga storytelling, right? You don't have to understand different languages to know that if your hand is on a Ferrari, the last person gets a car. Like that is just engaging content, right? You know what I mean?
Great.
So
Like language ascending above language.
Yeah, he's ascending and he's doing it in these 10, 15-minute YouTube videos. I mean, he's going to have the biggest audience of anyone ever. And it's absolutely insane. But actually, Bilal, I know you had a thought, but I want to give one George Clooney story, which is amazing. He, this is when he had made it as an actor.
Fun fact fan.
Yeah, this is the fun fact fan for this week. George Clooney got about, I think, 15 of his best friends together for dinner one night. This is after he made it as an actor, very successful. In each, he brought his 15 buddies over for dinner. He had 15 suitcases, and each suitcase was $1 million. And this was the crew he came up with. And he's like,
gangster.
I want to, this is, Google this shit, it's a real story. He goes, I'm giving each of you $1 million after tax. Tax is already paid for. And as a thank you for everything you've done to help me get to where I am. So Cindy Crawford's husband, I think.
Imagine that Uber home though. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know, dude.
Taking that suitcase home.
You're gonna need that security home, right? The police escort. So Cindy Crawford's husband, I can't remember his name. It's Ross something Gerber. He goes to George. He's like, I can't accept this money, dude. This is ridiculous. George goes, if any one of you don't take the $1 million, none of you get it. So
that's
they
hilarious.
had to take the money.
The game theory.
Imagine being friend 16. Imagine being George Clooney's 16th best friend.
Ponzi-nomics. That's hilarious.
How choked would you be if George Clooney's 16th best friend
Oh man,
didn't make the cut? That's an amazing story, dude.
This is nowhere near on the same scale, but one time at Google, they would give a holiday like a Christmas gift. So like in the first year, you get like a Nexus phone. You're like, 21 out of school. You're like, oh, I got a £1,000 phone. Like, this is sick. 1 year, they just decided to just give everyone $1,000 or €1,000 or whatever it was in cash.
Fungible.
And it was one that in Mountain View or whatever, there were people getting jacked because people found out
like
it got tweeted.
Oh my goodness.
So like all these Google nerds walking home on the little bar or whatever getting jacked.
Wait,
So
hold
I
on.
mean, I hope that's a public story, but yeah, it's kind of a funny thing.
Bilal, we might have to mute that.
Yeah, that's fine.
But actually, I have one more thing. Do you guys ever do Secret Santa?
Yeah, of course.
Do you guys ever do Secret Santa and somebody gives like the lottery ticket and then everybody just tries to trade for the lottery ticket?
Oh, yeah.
Because every other gift is ass.
You've seen the fake lottery tickets. Have you seen those?
No, what's that?
Oh, you got to do that.
Wow.
You can get like fake winning tickets and buy them
Oh
as
my
gifts.
God.
That is so
Jesus
sad.
Christ, that's so bad. Can you imagine that?
Yo,
Oh my God. Yeah, I've seen it
there's
happen
got to be
many times.
reaction videos online for that, man.
Yeah.
When Jack says he's seen it, he means he's pranked a few people.
Yeah.
doing
No.
this.
Hey, Celia, check this out. Just bought this, feeling like it today. Go ahead.
Yeah, mate.
Oh man! All right, so let's get us back. What were we talking about? So Mr. Beast. The other example I was going to give that was in the recent news. I'm just going to share my screen. Our boy Kevin Hart. Did you see this Hart House?
Oh, what is this? Healthy food?
This is basically, it looks like Shake Shack to me, but it's like vegan or like
dude,
plant-based.
everyone.
Which is interesting because it was what one of you said earlier about like how I think this is open in the last week as well. But like he's taking his fame, he's creating like this brand and franchise. I mean, he's actually killing it. Like this would be a great thread for Trung. Like the amount of businesses he's setting up, he's killing it. But yeah, the fact that he's jumped on the plant-based thing as well, which I have very
don't forget
strong.
our boy Mark Wahlberg, Wahlburgers.
The Wahlburgers, that's true. But no, I'm thinking the way you described Casamigos and all the alcoholic beverages, I feel like that was the 2000s thing, like 2000, 2010,
Yeah.
and 2022s, or like from this year onwards, like everyone's opening a burger joint.
Wingstop. Remember that one
Wingstop,
too?
is that Rick Ross?
Rick Ross.
Rick Ross's Wingstop? Oh,
Yeah.
Whether he started
has
or not,
like
I don't know.
50
He
of them or
bought a bunch
something.
of it. Yeah.
He probably ate a few too, to be honest. But yeah,
he's got the
killing it.
distribution for it. He talks about it. And
My man's been
raps
cutting.
about it, yeah.
He's been eating those pears. Have you ever seen the video of him?
Yeah, I love that video.
About how he loves pears. Sorry, that's a tangent. Sorry, that's not respecting the listeners' time. But anyway, we got all right. Anything else on Mr. Beast Burger? Because I think that's an interesting. I mean, the one thing I was going to say actually, Trung, sorry, before I just cut you off there, but I will challenge what one of you guys said before, because I do kind of agree that I think he's kind of unstoppable. At the same time, to be fair, what is the things that we liked when we were kids? And even though we now have like this nostalgia about them, they're not the same things we like, right? Like we're not playing Pokemon anymore, though there will be NFTs or something that takes its place. We're not watching Power Rangers.
So they might not age up with him, is what you're saying.
They might not age in the same way.
That's
And so what was cool then is not cool in the future. And at the same time, it's just depending on how he keeps evolving himself. Does he keep evolving and his content evolves so it attracts, it basically retains those people? Or is he just going to keep going after the mass and doing like giveaways and all the stuff that works? So that I mean, I think he'll just keep doing the stuff he wants to do, and he'll be fine either way. But it'll be interesting to see if he can reinvent himself.
That's a great question. So let me rebut Bilal's rebuttal, or kind of address it. That's a great question. Okay, so the number one YouTube earner, Ryan Kaji, you guys are the I think
He's
11-year-old
the
Filipino.
toys or something, yeah?
Yeah, he reviews toys. It's a full-on media operation. They make $30 million a year, but they had the same problem. I mean, you nailed it, Bilal. His parents, very savvy. They're like, oh, he's getting older. He has less interest for this thing. How are we going to keep that audience engaged? So they started doing digital versions of him, like cartoony versions of Ryan Kaji, right?
Killing it.
He'll never grow old. And that when Ryan, the real one, doesn't want to do it anymore, they're just going to toss him to the dustbin and let like the cartoon Ryan Kaji
Turn him
keep
into Hey
entertaining
Arnold.
kids. Yeah. That's a great question, actually, about like what Mr. Beast, man, it feels like, okay, let me just throw a prediction out there based on what Bilal said, because it's such a good point, is I think Mr. Beast is going to have to end up doing something like a motion picture event, like an Avatar type situation, right? We're talking about getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Could he do a movie that pulls in $2 billion at the box office, right? Like that seems like the end game here. Like he's going to conquer YouTube. He's already conquered it. Can he do something 90 minutes to 120 minutes? where it really becomes like this end game type, Avengers type phenomenon. I wouldn't bet against it, but I'm just thinking, what else is there for him to do?
Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Beast Olympics. Something like that.
Can you imagine it? That's
event.
wild because you've already got the.
He's already conquered it, right? He's already conquered. What is he going to do?
The live thing is a really good point because as you were saying that, I was bringing up Prime, which is Logan Paul, KSI. They have their energy drink, which is equivalent of one of these things as well. And they obviously, like that. I love that frame that Jack said before, which was like 32 cents per user or whatever, revenue per user. And then they went out and did, the fight. And like, I don't know how much they grossed in that, but like 10 mil, 10 mil, I have no idea. But like crazy money where you just take, people are actually paying $50 to watch a boxing fight versus like paying nothing or skipping an ad, whatever. And then if you layer on, like you said, those big things like a big movie deal or like something like that, or like where they're getting the back end of it as well. That's a big move.
Could you talk through that water deal a bit more? I know nothing about it.
What, the Prime thing?
Yeah.
I don't know that much about it. I just think they've got a brand called, I'm on it now, drinkprime.com. And I've seen they were sponsoring, they did something with Arsenal. That's how I know about it. And if you watch any of
stadium sponsorship or something, isn't it? It's like in and around the...
Yeah, Prime, it's an energy drink, Prime energy drink, Arsenal. I'm just going to see. Yeah, they're basically doing, Arsenal partners with Prime hydration drink. I don't know too much about it.
KSI, a big Arsenal fan, I'm assuming.
Massive, yeah, he's a massive Arsenal fan.
Well, let's give a shout out to Kobe Bean Bryant, rest in peace, because he had one of these most incredible energy drink deals. You guys remember 2014? He bought 10% of BodyArmor, a Gatorade competitor, for $6 million. It was acquired for $8 billion, or valued at $8 billion, and so he made 100 times his investment. I mean, his family did. Yeah. So this type of
money,
deal,
man. Jesus, wow.
Yeah. So Coca-Cola acquired them. So that type of, we're talking that's what I guess KSI and Logan Paul could be headed towards.
I think I think those guys, Mr. Beast, and I've listened to all of them recently on podcasts where, like, honestly, I don't like consume any of their content, really. Like Mr. Beast, I have the most respect for him, but just every time I watch the video, I'm not actually that entertained, but I get why it works. I'm probably not the right target. And in KSI, honestly, I used to watch back in the day when he did FIFA stuff, and he would just be playing FIFA all day. I watched a few clips, and after that, just never watched it. But then I listened to him on a podcast recently, actually on the Andrew Schultz podcast. They did an episode with him. And I was like, man, this guy's grown up so much. And you just hear, this guy is really smart. He's doing next level business deals. And, the way he's thinking about it long term is very impressive. And, same with Logan Paul. I didn't really, honestly watch any of his stuff. And then recently, I watched a few interviews with him. And I was like, damn, this guy is super smart. Obviously, he did the fight with Mayweather. The one thing that really pushed me over the edge with him is when he did the WWE thing recently. Did you see that video?
He's unbelievable, man. WrestleMania.
Like, wow. Yeah.
Tech
and he was jumping off the rope, and I'm like, man, the fact that he can do this and be a top YouTuber and do the podcast, and obviously it's a snowball effect, but he's a legit athlete. He did wrestling and stuff at school.
He's a performer, man. There's no question.
Incredible. Yeah, incredible.
Well, last shout on the influencer commerce thing is his brother Jake Paul. Also YouTuber, semi-controversial, but he is launching a betting app. So there you go.
Damn.
Jeez.
Yeah. The main thing though is
it's called better.
Compared to what Jack was saying earlier is the bigger trend is, it used to be 30 years ago, you might get a Jordan deal where he gets actually percentage of a business or whatever, right? But it was basically, we've got a product, we're going to pay you X amount of money to be in our ad, and that was pretty much it. I don't think they did these deals that regularly where you're getting a percentage or you're actually creating something, because they didn't see them as that important. They just saw them as distribution or
part of the marketing strategy.
Which it made sense for that time. But now it's got to a point where these guys are actually wait a minute, I'm the deal here, so I don't need to just be a part of the deal. I am the deal. And
that's what LeBron is. LeBron's a perfect example, right? He stopped doing McDonald's ads, exactly to your point. He's like, I want to own equity in the business. So he did a deal with Blaze Pizza, and he owns equity in Blaze Pizza.
Even those deals, those deals now feel dated
Yeah.
versus launching like Mr. Beast
Starting it
Burger,
from
right?
scratch.
Where it's
yeah.
like I think maybe the massive unlock is the permissionless distribution. Like, because before the business would still have to go and pay to be on TV or pay somebody else to get the message out. So it's like this YouTube is just, we've talked about it, is just so completely differently positioned than even like the other big media platforms, because you, like Mr. Beast, is not asking for permission from anybody to do anything. It's just, I'm going to go out and make this video and I'm going to upload it. And that's it. That's the end of it. It's going to, 20 million people, 30 million people are going to watch it. It's crazy.
Jack, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't think we've even begun to see like people are doing like the skeuomorphic versions of it, where it's like, that's an old deal. I'm just going to do the same thing, but I'm going to own 100% of it, versus like the things that this can enable that have not even been conceptualized yet, because all of the hurdles that you used to have to jump through, you don't anymore.
And Jack, you've been in the room where you get a brief from a brand and they're like, how do we get distribution, or how do we get eyeballs on digital, on social media, on YouTube, whatever it is? And that's basically like, these guys are the world's experts on it. Like if you take a YouTube employee, or even honestly a YouTube engineer to be more specific, and you took Mr. Beast and you said, go and create a YouTube channel and go and get 10,000 subscribers, or get 1,000, honestly, 100,000,000%, like Mr. Beast or someone even thousands of rank below him would beat the hell out of anyone trying to do it. Yeah, because it's not even the same. Like, to have actually done it, you know the details more than someone who just even designed it. And this is coming from someone whose job it was for a long time telling people how to do it on YouTube, right? So I'm talking about myself here too. When you actually go to do it yourself, you're like, what? Oh, okay, that's why people talk about. I learned in the theory click-through rate is important. Oh, this is a thumbnail is important, and then you go to make it with Jack.
Hey,
exactly.
Click-through rates. What's the CTR on this?
Bureaucracy, boys. It's bureaucracy.
That's
the other issue. Is like you're so far away from the actual feedback. Even if you have a good idea, you're so far. Mr. Beast looking at the YouTube analytics dashboard for like 100,000 hours.
Oh,
you ain't gonna beat him.
You're not beating him. Yeah, on the Rogan episode, he talks about for years he would basically just come home from school, and him and like 4 other guys would be in like some sort of Skype room or something. Skype room, which is old school, and they would literally just talk about how to create YouTube videos all day, and they would be like,
here's
try this one test,
like this test, bold this letter, like sorry, uppercase this. It was insane that level of detail. So yeah, mad respect to what he's doing. And I will say, like, to see him at that young age be able to find talent and just delegate, because I'm sure he's probably a nightmare to work with on the creative side, because he's like a perfectionist in every way, in a good and a bad way, but like it'll be crazy working in that environment. But like, he's got this right-hand man you mentioned, and for each unit he basically has a new leader like he should be doing. He doesn't know about burgers, right? Like, he's got people who do, and that's the way to do it. So I think he's playing the playbook pretty well, man. All right, should we move on to the next subject, boys? We just got one more for today. Well, actually, you know what? We haven't talked about it yet. I think it's worth talking about. Let's talk about Andrew Tate, the deplatforming
there we go.
of Andrew
Talking
Tate.
of,
yeah. So let me throw it to you guys, because you guys put me onto Andrew Tate. So Andrew Tate is like this. Listeners, I did not find Andrew Tate. Bilal and Jack were
he
like,
doesn't go on the internet, so
you got to sign up to Hustle University, man. It's like this. It's not a pyramid scheme.
Make sure you use this link.
Yeah, use this link, exactly.
So for the uninitiated, Andrew Tate is this kind of Instagram influencer type, TikTok. He's just like, he made a ton of money. Former kickboxer, former chess player, made a lot of money in apparently very sketchy ways, like with cam girls. But has over the past 6 months become, in his words, quote unquote, the most famous man in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, literally I think I sent it to you guys in the group chat. There were more people searching for Andrew Tate than President Biden, Joe Biden, Kim Kardashian, and Kanye West, or like three very prominent people.
Let's talk about it. He was juicing the algo a bit with what he was doing. So can you guys explain what Hustle University is and like what that was all about?
So I don't know, Jack, if you know more about this. I've never been inside there or seen it, so I don't know fully.
Ah.
But no, I mean, just to add really quickly what you said, the caveats, obviously, like he said a lot of wild stuff, right? Like we know that.
Yeah.
That's why he's basically been cancelled off a lot of these platforms. Though
Very
a lot
misogynist things, like a lot of women violence was condoned in these clips that were taken from his videos.
Like stuff, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff where, I mean, honestly, again, if you listen to this with your kid, like I'm just gonna say some of the things that he said real quick. Like he would say stuff like, "The world's problems will be solved if you put a woman's body count on their forehead," right? Like so that's obviously a terrible thing to say, but the point is he was playing the he was playing the internet's algorithm, right? And he knows by saying that, just me literally being scared to say that on the podcast because someone could clip that and ruin my life with it. Yeah, he knows that on both sides there's going to be someone like, oh, that's funny, and on the other side they're going to be like, oh my god, how can you say that? And that is what creates the feedback loop that blows up your video essentially.
Yep.
This was attributed to someone, I can't remember the name, but it was like, if you get 50% of people to love something and 50% of people to hate it, you get 100% of the attention. And he just executed that playbook
to perfection.
Yeah. And then the other thing to mention is a lot of this stuff, he wasn't even his own account. He didn't have a TikTok account. So he was basically incentivizing. He had this thing, I think, Hustlers University, which for what I understand is like basically a course business or some sort of educational thing, right? I'm assuming.
Maybe a pyramid scheme. I've heard it's MLM.
So from what I understand, there's people pay for it to get access to probably some educational stuff, but then I've heard him talk about community, like, and the way he positioned it was always like, oh, the world, there's this matrix that you're in or whatever, and like to get out the matrix you need to know people, and like this is a community of people. So essentially the same thing all these Web3 people were doing in community, or someone else is doing in community. It's just a community. It's a Discord probably, right? Like, and so it's the same thing. You're just repackaging it to say you're getting access to all these people. And so that's what I think people are paying for. But I think the allegation of like pyramid scheme or Ponzi or whatever is that a part of teaching people how to make money online, which is, a very Tai Lopez way of putting it, there was an affiliate link. So that's why these people,
one that Bilal sent me a couple times. Well, every day is like, Trung, did you click on this, man? I don't think you clicked on this.
I saw it click. I didn't see
description.
Exactly. But basically that was the thing where people were creating these videos and then they were linking out to this course or wherever, they were getting a cut. So I know Jack, you'd actually said in one of our group chats to talk about this at some point, and you were saying like, how I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like you had thoughts on this as well.
Well, I was just saying it's like I think I used the term fiat shitcoin.
That's it.
It's like the perfect playbook of like, you don't have to use any of this token infrastructure or like launch tokens and have this
take a credit card.
Yeah, you just like, there's enough of a level of tangibility to it where it becomes this like, it becomes a feedback loop that I think people really understand how they're like driving value, right? It's like I'm going to amplify these ideas and I'll get paid for amplifying these ideas, which is the same thing as any like if you're making the token comparison, it's like the more people talk about this meme or the more people meme this visual, the more attention it gets, the more people invest in the project, etc., etc. And then like, that then follows the curve of attention. When the attention drops out of the thing becomes valueless. But in this case, there's no ability for the market to sell out of it. It's just Andrew Tate's Stripe account going ding, 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 ding. And then people are getting, I don't know, whatever percentage he was paying them.
Fiat shitcoin.
Yeah. I mean, it's a stretch, but you get what I'm saying in terms of the like.
He's using this influence instead of launching a crypto product. It's just going to him and like his Hustle University, and it's driven by this massive meme of Andrew Tate, the individual that. So I will say this is like, if you look at the entire body of his content, some of it is this idea of like, hey, listen, if you're a young male, there's certain responsibilities you should have, right? Listen, it's crazy shit he said, but then there's part of it too where like it's pretty normal. He's like, yeah, you should take care of yourself and be in good shape and learn to go after what you want, have a little discipline in your life, right? There's some stuff that's not crazy. It's tied in with some of the crazy misogynist stuff. And that's where I guess we should talk about, he got completely deplatformed, right? And this is where it gets interesting. So it wasn't a single conduct violation that he had. It sounds like, just more generally, Andrew Tate violated our policies on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter, of maybe they took the misogynist stuff and said, okay, this is like condoning violence, right? But where it got interesting, and Bilal mentioned this before, he doesn't himself have a TikTok account. It seems like a lot of related
people were creating their own
taking
versions,
videos of all
them.
his YouTube clips. And I mean, he played, if you were to create a avatar for how to get clipped from video podcast, you would wear sunglasses indoors while smoking a cigar, right?
Yeah,
like
getting massaged for an hour.
Getting massaged. Like, he's playing the algo to a T, got people to cut these videos. But this is where it got interesting. It's a character, a shitty character. He got banned. Not just he got banned, the likeness of him got banned. So on TikTok, if you're one of these accounts that Bilal mentioned, that just posted videos of Andrew Tate, that account and those videos were getting deplatformed. So this is where it kind of gets scary on the censorship side. Because whatever you think about Andrew Tate, it's infinitely worse to have no recourse and to have your likeness erased from the internet and decided by, honestly, 5 or 6 people that run these large tech platforms. So that is where, this is why it's such a difficult issue to talk about, right? It's like, if you're saying, oh yeah, I don't think Andrew Tate should have been completely disappeared from the internet, people say, oh, you're supporting misogyny and violence towards women, right? But that's actually not what's happening. What's happening is, just overnight, he was taken off the internet, disappeared. And that's just a lot of power to have, right? Because you got to start asking, who can that be applied towards?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're separating the person and whatever he's saying from the idea
what is
of
the
being
due
able to
process,
be
right? It's like a Trumpish type question. So you took Trump off all these platforms overnight. It was definitely coordinated. And whatever you thought about him, you had 6 people deciding the most powerful man in the world, or we thought he was.
The way I would see it, Trung, is like that example you gave there. So Andrew Tate, Trump, I would say even before that, Obama, on a completely different scale of who the person might be and the people that will follow him. But to me, these were 3 big, I know 2 of them were presidents and one is some random dude on the internet.
Like internet
but I'm
mind
saying,
share.
as an example, like as someone, if you listen to this, you listen to us to learn about what's on the edge of the internet. And this guy was the edge of the internet with hundreds of millions of people watching his stuff, basically, right?
Yeah.
Billions of people, billions of views, sorry. And so, and I'm literally just sharing this right now on my screen. If you can see, if you're listening, I'll just describe. This is Google Trends. And you can literally see here, this is Andrew Tate, Kim Kardashian, Kanye, and Joe Biden.
That is insane.
Right? And this is the blue line here, 66. So he had almost 5-6 times the amount of people searching for him than Joe Biden. 6 times the amount, pretty much. More than 2 times than Kim Kardashian. Again, 4 times more than Kanye. These are 3 of 4 of the most famous people in the world. And a lot of people listening to this might never even heard of him. But if you see his picture, you might be like, oh, I've seen a clip of him and I've never seen him again. And so that is the kind of power of like, this is more about a case study of something that happened on the internet in the last 6 months, which if you agree or disagree, if you think is an idiot, if whatever, like that's not the point here. The point is the fact that this time it was Andrew Tate, another time it could be Donald Trump running for president again, or it could be on the flip side, a positive thing that you agree with that is also spread. Like if you believe in climate change and someone's coming out with viral clips talking about why we need to change something for climate change. I'm just giving extreme examples here. So that is kind of why it's an interesting example. And I think what was very smart, if you like it or hate him, regardless, the fact that he didn't have his own account meant it could keep going. He didn't. Well, normally you think of it as the other way around, right? You say, oh, I don't have my own account. They could take it away from me at any moment. Instead, they designed it in a way which was, I'm going to create something that people can just keep spinning up new accounts every single day. And I'm going to give them incentive to go and actually pump this for me. And the best stuff's going to rise to the top. And that's exactly what happened. He had so many one-liners that were perfect for TikTok.
That's why the deplatforming of his likeness is so crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
how are they even doing that? Like,
I don't even know how they do that.
They're probably just like do image recognition, text. They're just like, this guy's on the platform. We're just So Mike Solana, who writes the Wires newsletter, you guys ever read that? He writes incredibly
read his
good
tweets.
stuff.
I don't think I've read his
Yes.
newsletter.
His newsletter is amazing, but he just like this tool that we just saw, the deplatforming of likeness, not of just the individual, is an escalation. And what you need to be wary of is think about this tool wielded in a political race, right? It's not even like, hey, we're going to deplatform Donald Trump. We're going to deplatform any likeness or image of him or any future competitor, right? And again, this is being decided by a handful of people. Or even, honestly, it could just be one or two people in like the censorship department or like the safety and moderation department of a single tech company, right? And they're probably all in a group chat together. And the amount of power that is being wielded it's absolutely insane. It's wild. I think that's the takeaway, right? Whatever you think about Andrew Tate, that's the takeaway. Is like somebody just got wiped off the internet.
I think that's the problem with the example for some people to get that logic you just shared, which was like they just viscerally feel this disdain for someone like him for what he said. They've heard a one-liner and they're like, oh my God, this person.
Think about the opposite side, right? Think about what happens.
That's why I was trying to give both examples of like, if something you agree with, like it's not about what he's saying, it's about the principle of being able to take someone's identity away on the internet, which honestly I haven't even thought that enough about until you just talked about it there. But yeah, so this to me was two parts. One was like this explaining the phenomenon of this character. This guy's, I mean, he might believe a lot of things he's saying, but he's also clearly playing a character.
Yeah.
Like there's literally videos where you can see him breaking character, and it's like it's actually quite funny to see. Oh, this guy's like laughing in his head, like knowing everything he's saying is being eaten up by the cameras. And so that's the first part. But the second part is like the principle of what happens when someone needs to be taken off the internet. Yes, it's I mean, and in the future, it might not be something so extreme. It might be someone running for office or someone you just don't agree with what they're saying. So yeah, very good point. All right, boys, anything else on that before we cut out? I know we're hitting our time.
Yeah, we'll do the last bit. If you guys want to jump to the you guys know the website Know Your Meme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
So I'll just give a preamble and Know Your Meme for the people that aren't aware. So Mark Andreessen, venture capitalist, Netscape founder, says Know Your Meme is the most important website in the world. NIA listeners know how much we love memes, and we have Meme of the Week, and we love posting images and videos that are make us chuckle. But I mean, we also talk about what a meme is, right? It's just a unit of cultural transmission. It's not like these macro images with big funny text. So Know Your Meme just traces like the etymology or the history of all the most popular memes. That's what makes a website so interesting, right? So launched in 2008 as basically a Wikipedia for memes. But what's interesting is they just released a report that shows where memes come from since 2010 to 2012. And I just think it's a fascinating report. And the main takeaways, I'll shoot some ideas to you guys and probably go down memory lane here, was like how memes spread through the internet and where they're coming from. So if I were to ask you guys, 2010, so we're starting this report at 2010, where would you say the most memes come from? Well, let me ask you, where do the most memes come from today, 2022?
You mean like by platform, right?
No, yeah. Where are the most memes, videos,
I'm assuming
ideas?
Twitter. I'm assuming Twitter, but like in terms of like where it starts, probably there, and Instagram. But I mean, I don't know where they actually start because it could just be my own.
Reddit, Twitter.
Reddit, actually. Reddit is another one as well.
So the great, I mean, the answer is TikTok. TikTok is the ultimate meme machine right now, and it took over the crown from Twitter last year.
Okay, got it.
But that makes sense, right? Rise of TikTok. It's got 1 billion users.
That also might be the way I'm thinking of the word meme as well.
Yeah, totally.
I'm thinking of just an image like that. So
we're talking about like an internet trend or an idea, like where they're coming from,
in that case,
right?
definitely, TikTok.
Yeah,
for sure.
TikTok. So 2010, actually, we're going back. YouTube was the GOAT. So YouTube invented the viral video, right? Like people, you remember like the
Charlie bit my finger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where the memes really started busting out. 2000, but this was like, think about the internet back then. There's only about 600 million people on Facebook in 2010. That's a lot, but now there are 6 social networks with at least 1 billion users, right? It's TikTok, WeChat, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, and what's one more? It doesn't
Not
matter. There's 6
Twitter.
of them. Not Twitter.
LinkedIn?
Not Twitter.
Is LinkedIn that high? No,
It
there's
is getting
600.
close. Yeah, it's about 600. But totally different idea of how memes start. So YouTube was big, but here's the other thing that's interesting in 2010. Do you guys remember all those old websites like 9gag? Like iFunny and 9gag? Yeah, so there are a bunch of websites in 2010 which had memes. So 2010 was like this period where it's still fractured. People used to go to websites. But then what started happening? We started getting the Tumblrs, the Reddits of the world, 4chan. So the difference with how these different platforms brought memes up was now you can start classifying memes in subreddits. So people started going there to classify memes. 4chan was just this complete Wild West. Have you guys ever used 4chan? I've never used it.
No, I don't. Is
I've
it
been
like
linked to stuff on there, but I was going to add a bit of personal trivia. I went to school with a kid who started lolcats.com.
That's
It was like
hilarious.
one of the first.
That's big.
One of the first like big viral image things, you know, where people funny pictures of cats, like because that was a meme in itself, right? The internet was used to look at cat pictures. Remember when people used to, yeah. Anyway.
Well, that's what literally when we would go in 2010 to speak to people about YouTube, they would literally say, "Oh, what am I going to put my ad, my brand next to people of like a cat on a skateboard, like something like that?" And that's literally what they thought of it as. So. Same thing.
That's a good shout out because it kind of explains the trajectory of these memes. So we're talking about there's so many websites back then. They say Lolcats or 9gag in 2010. So YouTube was the big meme creator, and then you had these fractured websites. All those memes started centralizing into 4chan, Reddit, and Tumblr. So those became the bastions for memes between 2012 and 2014. But this is, you guys will appreciate this. 2014 is when Vine took over. So man, dude, you're talking about misses. Like Twitter had Vine and they're sitting on that 6-second video pre-TikTok goldmine and just completely blew it. And that thing's pumping out memes like crazy. And then you guys mentioned Twitter, and this is where it really took off, 2014. So 2014 is when Twitter pivoted to become more of a real-time news network. So instead of like posting like your updates in the late 2000s, which was kind of its purpose, that's when politicians, entertainers, journalists really started really revving up their usage on Twitter. So you're combining a place to aggregate memes, so like Reddit where all the memes are uploaded, plus real-time news and famous people. That mix created an absolute monster. So in their analysis, Twitter became the home for memes from 2014 to 2019 before TikTok took over. Like Twitter was the spot. It was this real-time ness plus where people aggregate to put all their memes. And peak Twitter happened in 2019. Not surprising, right? During the Trump presidency. So that's the quick history of where memes come from.
Yeah, I didn't realize. It makes a lot of sense on TikTok now, but I kind of forgot about YouTube even when you described that.
That blew me
that
away.
was the viral video. Now you think of Mr. Beast and all these different things. We watch hours of interviews of like Joe Rogan and stuff like that, but you forget that's where all it was viral videos basically.
Was from YouTube. So they brought, the last point I'll bring with them is the TikTok and Twitter took over as the meme factories because they're mobile first, right? Is like Reddit, and they also Reddit, Tumblr, YouTube. They obviously all have apps, but like people are like kind of desktoping them and the websites. But TikTok and Twitter, mobile first, and so basically the know your meme conclusion is this: for TikTok to get displaced as like the go-to meme plays, you're basically gonna have to have a whole new platform shift. So they're like, whoever dominates this next platform, whatever it is, VR, AR, who knows what it's gonna be, they're going to be the ones that make the memes. So, conclusion, Zuck's going to be making our memes.
All right, man. I think we are ready to... Oh, by the way, we should talk about that another episode, but did you guys see Zuck was on Rogan? Did you watch that?
Yeah, I listened to that.
I saw a little bit.
It's hard to listen to, and it's not the most...
engaging
vibrant,
speaker.
Like, tone, but there's good content in there for sure.
No, I mean, I will just, the quick thing I thought was like, he's actually like the way he's talking about metaverse stuff. I was like, oh, actually, he's really thinking deep about it. It's bigger than I originally thought. You know, we got used to hearing the word metaverse as kind of a joke term, like to mean anything. But these guys are actually really, you know, if anyone's going to win, they probably have a good chance. All right, boys, I think we can call it there, unless you had anything else. Thanks, Trung, for giving us the history of memes. Go on,
I got
Jack.
one more point. The lolcats.com, 2006.
Was
does
it peak or
memes.
founded?
OG.
No, that's when it started. So yeah, I can go back. We should all try and do some internet archive stuff. One of these episodes, pull up all the little things, high school websites you're involved in.
College humor.
No, the ones you built. We still got a stream.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Bling Bling King LLC.
LLC limited, mate. Limited. It's the UK. All right. Well, that was good chat. Yeah, great. I didn't think we were going to touch all of those, but that was really interesting. Let us know what you think of this. If you're still here, make sure you smash the like button on YouTube. Write a comment. Let us know what you think of this as well. Share it with a friend. And one quick pump my bag segment is Trung and I just recorded an hour kind of interview, me interviewing him for Creator Lab, the other podcast I do. So just whip out your phone right now and make sure you subscribe to that so you can listen to it next week when it comes out. It's all about going deep on what he's been doing, basically. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that as well. Let me know what you think of that, and we will see you next week.
Nice one,
Perfect.
boys.
Peace, guys.
Cheers.